I am conflicted about Eli Tomac, and for those of you unaware, I am a huge Eli Tomac fan. There's no getting around it. When he is there racing and especially winning, my enthusiasm and excitement is just at another level. And don't get me wrong, I love the sport and the racers no matter who's competing, but when Eli's there, I am a fanboy. There is no getting around it. And conversely, when he is not there competing, as is the case this year with what we all know happened, I get a little bummed. I get a little sad. And it's difficult now looking at where Eli is at in his career, now getting another injury, not necessarily a super significant one. It's not like what happened previously the season before last with the Achilles. He's out of the Supercross season. He might come back for the last couple of races. He is going to be racing outdoors. So awesome. I mean, I'm stoked for it. I don't know who isn't. But the question has to be asked, where does Eli go from here? Now, there was a lot of talk that he was going to be doing a Supercross only deal that would obviously see him not compete in the outdoors. As we know, the schedule for this series in this sport in the US is unbelievably gnarly. There needs to be fewer races. That was actually a video I was going to do. There's too many races, not only for the athletes, but honestly, as a fan, there is definitely truth in absence makes the heart grow fonder. When you have too much of something, even something as awesome as Supercross, it gets a little bit monotonous. It gets less exciting. We need fewer races. It will help the athletes. I know ultimately for the organizers, it'll make them less money. That's why they obviously want as many races as possible. Each additional race just generates more income. But for the athletes and the fans, I believe it would benefit from fewer races, but that's kind of a side tangent. Eli Tomac has talked about, not necessarily super publicly, but there has been hints and suggestions that a likely scenario is him continuing to race, but only doing Supercross. I wouldn't be surprised if he does motocross too, but this is where we get into where I am conflicted about what I want to see Eli do. The fan in me wants to see Eli Tomac race, period, end of story. As long as he is willing to race, I would love to see him out there. When he's not there, it is just not the same for me. I would imagine that is the case with many of you. If he wants to race, I want to see him race, and I want to see him do it for as long as he possibly can. But there's another side to me that honestly just asks the question, is it time to hang it up? He has made plenty of money. He is one of those few riders that has kind of beat the system. He is among a handful of Supercross athletes that have managed to get to the later part of their career and have all the accolades, the championships, the wins, the titles, and has the money, has the sort of equity to pretty much retire today. He's set. He's a pretty frugal guy. He's intelligent with what he does. He's been a big earner for many years. And he is in a situation that literally, like 10, maybe 20 guys are in where you beat it. Like the game of Supercross, you have beat. Probably the hardest game in sports. And this is where it's like, when I see how dangerous this sport is, how many riders get taken out, I don't even want to talk about the tough blocks thing again, but yet, the sport is just so brutally unforgiving. And a part of me wants to see Eli Tomac just go, you know what? I've had a great run. I have nothing left to prove. He can pretty much, do whatever he wants in the sport. He's arguably the most popular rider, and he's going to find no shortage of offers and jobs. Whatever he wants to do, he can do. But maybe it's time for him to hang it up, to not do what is often the case when riders get in the later part of their career. And with Eli, it's weird because he is still capable of winning championships, but the risks that this sport has in how dangerous it is, how hard you have to ride nowadays with Chase Sexton and Jet Lawrence, who's also out, obviously. It is just gnarly having watched him for so many years, and a part of me wants to see him ride off into the sunset. You got a family, 3 kids, I believe. There's so much potential in terms of what he could do. I can't imagine he's going to leave the sport, and I don't want to see him leave the sport. For me, Eli Tomac is just such a big part of what I love about Supercross and racing. But there's also a confliction because I also realize that that's obviously going to mean we're not going to be able to see him race anymore. Because the other part of me is like, dude, race as much as possible. He still has the speed. His longevity is an indicator of how intelligent his approach has been. His father's influence, John Tomac, in really allowing him to avoid the burnout that many previous champions saw. He's got it. He's got the speed. The fitness is there. He's taken relatively few injuries, so he's not like, he hasn't been beaten to a pulp at this point. He's got it. He can still absolutely win races and likely win championships. If he was still in this championship, I know the woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's hard to imagine him not being the points leader currently. I know that's always theoretical, but it's challenging, right? Because I would imagine, I want to hear what you guys think. I want to see him race. I don't want to see him leave the sport. But the other part of me is like, I want to see him just ride off into the sunset. He's got a family. He's got nothing left to prove. This sport it is so brutally unforgiving. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've done. It takes a split second and bad things happen. I don't need to explain what I'm talking about. We have seen it. Man, he's been in it for so long and he's done it. He's beat the system, and it would be cool. He is racing motocross and I cannot wait to see that. I want to see him get some more wins. But yeah, I got to admit that I'm kind of conflicted because I, at the same time, want to see him do whatever he is motivated to do. And if he wants to keep racing, he's going to keep racing, obviously. And as a fan of Eli, that's what I want to see, is him sort of pursue the path that he feels motivated and inspired by. But the other side is, I would imagine, some people in his family, his father or his wife is talking about, is it worth it? Is the juice still worth the squeeze? This is not basketball. This is brutal, high consequences. And the question has to be asked, is it still worth it? I want to hear what you guys think. I know you guys are as big a fan as Eli as I am. This season has been weird. Eli's gone. Jet's gone. Chase Sexton has been honestly just dropping the ball. It's been pretty weird. So that's tough. Probably worth a video in itself. But yeah, that's where I'm at. He might be back for the last couple of rounds in this year's outdoor. Awesome. So let's say theoretically this is the last season. Seems unlikely. I am going to be just hooting and hollering louder than ever. I make no bones about it. I am rooting for him. So let me know what you guys think and hope you enjoyed the video.